Welcome back to No Mo Rural Data Centers. My name is Millie Ryan. After a packed and very emotional planning and zoning meeting on April the 21st, many residents are asking the same question. Was this decision already made before the public ever walked in the room? Today, we're joined by Patricia Shuba from the Franklin County Coalition to break down her view of what happened that night, the tone of the room, the actions of the commissioners, the narrow vote, and most importantly, what comes next as this fight moves to just 3 individuals who could decide the future of our county.
So Tuesday night, April 21st, the Planning and Zoning Commission came together to discuss and take up the zoning regulations and the 2 sites in Franklin County that are proposed for hyperscale data centers. So there was a little bit of discussion, and we had our champions in that discussion, and that was the chair and the vice chair and a representative from the further reaches of the county west of here that basically asked the questions we would like to heard asked. But then there wasn't a lot of action on those questions. And then ultimately, the county's paid highway administrator took the lead and put forward some motions, which was shocking to the public that it was moving that quickly without a whole lot of substantial discussion back and forth and maybe amending of what they were looking at in the last version of the zoning regulations that they were considering. And they moved in a manner that didn't include the public. There were things, silly little things like not using the microphones appropriately, or not, going through the steps that they go through to make a decision like we were actually in the room. And that actually changed the tenor of the crowd. And people became bold and started speaking out and holding them accountable. Of course, we were all there in red. We had red sheets of paper that we could raise up to show our opposition to what was being discussed or decided. There were some folks that brought sheets that were banners, I believe, that dropped in the back of the crowd. So there was a lot of energy there. So I was surprised they didn't respond to that. Now, again, the chair and the vice chair, Mr. Hare and Mrs. Willett, I think did, and they came prepared to advocate for the public. It seemed a bit scripted, but I think they're used to not making these decisions with the public present. Most planning and zoning meetings have maybe 5 people in the room, and they're held in the county commission chambers. This was, again, a crowd of at least 1,000 people there, showing that we wanted them to do what we wanted them to do and protect our farmland, protect our neighbors, protect the way of life that we have in Franklin County. And it felt like there was a wall that they couldn't move through to actually get that to happen. So it felt like there was a lot of coordination by the county and by the powerful people in the county to make sure that the planning and zoning appointed citizens make the decision that they wanted. So ultimately, they came to a vote. The vote was 5-4 in favor of recommending the zoning code changes and some of the changes to the zoning at these 2 sites to allow the Diamond Farm property to move forward as a hyperscale data center. That was a slim vote of 5-4. And I want to pause there because that's important for the public to understand. That was a huge accomplishment to get 4 individuals to stand up for the public against powerful people that wanted this to happen. Let's name those powerful people. That's the Bank of Washington. That's certain people who are investing in these properties that will benefit from it at the exclusion of the public. That may even be large lobbying efforts at the state level. The governor might have been involved in lobbying for this, as he was over in Jefferson County. I want to be clear who we hold accountable for the decision Tuesday night, and moving forward, who we hold accountable for the ultimate decision here in Franklin County. And that's a select number of powerful people. These are not our neighbors. These are not the people who sit on Planning and Zoning Commission, by and large. They're being pressured. So Of course, we were disappointed when we saw the vote. There were tears, there was anger, and we stood on the parking lot for the longest time before we actually left. And it was because we wanted to provide comfort to each other. And I want us to take that away from that evening, that we are powerful. And we're powerful when we come together and we stand up against forces that normally dictate the details of our lives. We don't have to live like that. And there is a clear path. I hope there's a clear path legally. But if there isn't, there is a clear path in organizing the community here in Franklin County. We don't have to vote for these people ever again. We can find ways to remove them from power, and we can replace them with people that look like us and who listen to us and represent us. I grew up here in Franklin County, and I can tell you there was a time when our county commissioners set meetings in the county and said, come to the school. I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions on these projects. And they really listened, and they dialogued, they answered questions, they interacted with us. That time was a while back, but we can bring that back again here in Franklin County. This particular decision is not only the decision where these might go in the county or if they are in our county, it is also an opportunity to build a better county government. And what I can say is I know how zoning works, and I know how decisions are made, and I know who sits in those seats makes a difference. So say, for example, the worst case scenario happens. The county commission notices their hearing today, and it gets posted in the Washington Missourian in the next Wednesday paper. And then 14 days from that date, we have a hearing. And they go into that planning. This is going to be one hearing. We're going to wrap this up, and then we're going to vote at the end of the hearing. That could happen. So the public needs to be prepared for that and show up. We had 1,000 people there, but I know we can have more than that at a hearing. There's more of us in the county who care about this. I bump into people every day who say to me, my God, what happened Tuesday night was a travesty. But I was busy visiting with friends or going to a baseball game or something else. People, we need to put this as our priority. We need to show up. We need to fill the chambers. We need to fill whatever venue that they give us. And we need to express our concern and even anger, not illegally, within the confines of the law. Express your anger with these decisions because we have every right to. It's called righteous anger, and it's based on what is true and what is right for our county. And I believe when we show up in those numbers and demand what's right, it'll be very hard for those 3 commissioners to pass this in our county. Literally what happened Tuesday night is the prequel. The decision there is only a recommendation to the county commission. The county commission. So these 3 individuals who make this decision for over 100,000 of us in the county can be replaced. And if you look at the bottom of the sheets in planning and zoning documents for the county, you'll see a whole row of dates at the bottom. Those are the dates of revisions to the county zoning regulations. So if we have new people who represent us, we can reverse those regulations. We can reverse the course of this for Franklin County. What is hard for folks is they see the decision in the moment, like the moment Tuesday night or the moment at maybe the end of a hearing with the county. So you have to stay hopeful and you have to stay committed. And we have to stay committed to each other. So I would encourage you to find other folks that are working on this issue. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on our websites. And come to the next meeting and come with the gifts and talents that you have to bring to our effort and help craft what our strategy might be. This is a collective of individuals trying to make a difference in our county, the place that we either grew up in and want to stay in, or where you decided to make your home because you see the values that you treasure in our community. We're all working together.
What we heard today is clear. Tuesday night was not the end of the fight. It's just the beginning. A 5-4 vote tells us something powerful. This community is not divided in silence. It is standing up. It is being heard. But now the decision moves into the hands of just 3 people. And what happens next will depend on whether the public shows up even stronger than before. We need to stay engaged, stay united, don't give up. This isn't just about data centers. It's about who gets to decide the future of Franklin County. Data centers do not belong in an agricultural, rural area. They belong in industrial areas. That's why they're seeking zoning changes. Let's put these where they belong.